Dear friends, in today's reflection, we take inspiration from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 1 to 12, on the Beatitudes. These are readings which are on the solemnity of all the saints, where all of us are called to be saints, to be like God, to be like Jesus, to speak well of others like Jesus, to do good to others the way Jesus does. And the saints were people who were able to look at Jesus and to learn from him and to be like him and to behave like him. There are people in the past who did good, and we are what we are right now because of such people who are officially recognized as saints, and many others, even in our families, those good people who always did good to us, who inspired us, who gave us life, who gave us reasons to live no matter what happened to us in life. They were people who were focused, who knew what it means to be human, at the same time, who knew how to connect with God and to connect with each other. They taught us the good things about life on this earth, but also life in heaven, looking at the goodness of Jesus, looking at the life of Jesus, looking at the words of Jesus and putting them in practice. And the saints also assure us that yes, we can also be able to be like Jesus, to be good like the Father, to be kind like a father, to be like mothers, to be like fathers, to be like brothers and sisters, to be human. The first beatitude is that blessed are the poor in spirit. Dear friends, when we are poor materially or physically and also spiritually or in any kind of poverty, it acknowledges the fact that we depend on others. And in this case, we depend on God, and we always call on him as a sign of humility so that he can fill us with his divine life, so that he can fill us with all the blessings, because we know that we have our own limitations. However positive and strong we too are as humans, but we also have our own limitations, and we rely on the power of God who works on us. That poor in spirit, that acknowledgement of someone who is greater than we, because sometimes we humans think that we are far better than others, and that we are so great and high, and nobody, and not even God, can be able to go ahead of us, that we know everything, we think we can do everything. And yet we need to acknowledge that yes, we can do something, but God can help us to do even more if we are open to him and acknowledge that to some extent we do the best we can, but and allow ourselves that God does the rest. That attitude of heart, that attitude of spirit, of heart, that acknowledges one who is stronger than us, one who works wonders in us, with us, and through us, our Lord God. If we acknowledge him, then we are more blessed. We are happy if we acknowledge that God is working in us and is also working in our brothers and sisters with that heart that is so docile, that is so active but docile. Active in the sense that it only listens to God and puts God's ways in action. Docile in a way that it learns from God and is able to be filled with God. A heart that does not pretend to say that I am full of myself, because when we are full of ourselves, there's no space for God and no space for others, and that is pride, a negative pride, a heart that is poor, that depends on God in everything. We are happy when we are docile and depend on God and not only on ourselves and on others. The second beatitude is blessed are those who are meek and humble. Exactly what we have just been talking about. That negative pride is to be kicked off. What is required in life, even in a relationship with God, but also with ourselves, is to be simple, to be humble, to be meek, to be People whereby others can easily reach us and open out and speak to us and relate to us and find hope in us and find answers to their challenges and problems and find encouragement from us and find friendship from us. That's what it means to be meek, simple, and humble, not proud and full of ourselves. The third beatitude is, blessed are those who mourn. They will be comforted. They mourn because of the state of the world. They mourn because they see a lot of things that are happening on, and they mourn because they have a heart that feels with others, that feels that things are going on well, but also that feels that things are not going on well, and they cannot remain indifferent and silent. They mourn because of the bad things that are happening, and they mourn as they act to make things better. They cannot keep quiet. They cannot pretend and say things are okay when they are not okay. So they are blessed because they mourn. They allow their feelings, their emotions to move, to feel with others, especially those who suffer. And they can say, yes, this is okay, and they appreciate it, or they feel like, no, there's something that is not going on well. There is war, there is tension, there is negativity, there is pessimism, there's something not good going on, and they cannot keep quiet, and they have to cry out, and they have to mourn. They cry out to God until God hears. They cry out to each other until someone does something good in a situation which is bad. It is painful, dear friends, when we see something bad and we keep quiet. That is a sin of omission. And we have to feel with ourselves. We have to cry out. Don't be afraid to cry out to God, but also to each other, especially when things are not going on well. We cannot be silent. And we know that when we speak out and cry out, there is a power in the word, because that word becomes powerful and active and acts. It does good. So when we don't speak out, then nothing good will be done, and we shall be held responsible because we had a chance to challenge others, to help others to grow, to help others know their mistakes, but we did not. Because there are some people who do their mistakes not because they want to do, but because they just do not know. So they await your word to encourage them, to challenge them. Yes, in talking about what is not going on well, I know there will be challenges. Some people will not be happy with us. Some people will think like that we are the best. We are now shouting and we think that we are the best. No, it's not a matter of being best or not best. I may also have my limitations, but I have the duty to also cry out and speak out when things are not going on well. I, as a Christian, I, as a human being, cannot keep quiet when things are not going on well. That's why we are happy when we mourn, when we cry over some situations, in order to make them better and in order to speak to the ones concerned, to encourage them to do good, to turn from what is not good to what is good. It's my duty and your duty to speak out, to cry out to God, to cry out to each other, to see that a situation which is challenging turns out into something beautiful. Yes, we can intervene, and we may think that our words are weak, but our words are strong. They can move, they can act, and they can do great things, especially if they are good words that challenge a situation, good words that encourage others as well. Another beatitude is, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for goodness, for what is true, good, right, and just. Yes, we should hunger and thirst and do whatever is good, whatever is beautiful, whatever is just, and kick off any form of injustice, any form of injustice that does not acknowledge the human dignity. Dear friends, we know what it means to be human and how to protect the human dignity, how to give the rights of every human person, right of food, right of freedom, right of medical care, right of education, right of shelter, and other basic needs. Right, just to be human, that makes the world a better place. So we are blessed when we hunger and thirst for righteousness, for justice, for peace, for justice, for what is just. That gives a human being his due as a human being, his right to live and to live well and peacefully. We are blessed when we stand for justice. that which makes a human person, and protect his rights. Yes, we are blessed. Yes, dear friends, we are blessed when we are merciful, when we imitate God, because God is merciful, God is forgiving, God is loving, God is pardoning. We are blessed when we reconcile with God, with each other, and with ourselves. When we know that others can make mistakes and create a room of never getting tired of forgiving others, because God never gets tired of forgiving us. So we too are more blessed when we don't get tired of forgiving others, because we know that others are also on a journey and can make mistakes. And so to have that heart that always forgives others no matter what, we are blessed. When we forgive our husbands and wives at home, when we forgive our children, we are more blessed. When we forgive our brothers and sisters in communities, we are more blessed. When we forgive those who hurt us knowingly or even unknowingly, we are more blessed. When we have such a big heart of a father who accepts his children as they are, such big heart of a mother who accepts his children as they are, we are more blessed when we are forgiving, when we accept others as they are. Because when we are merciful, then others learn from us how to be merciful, how to be kind, and how to be forgiving. We give a chance to another. Actually, we give more chances and chances and chances to others to change. We all need these chances to be given to us to change, to be better people. We are all in a journey. Every day we grow up, but sometimes we fall down. And that's why we need to be humble enough to ask for forgiveness from God, but also ask for forgiveness from others. And also that we also share the forgiveness with all. Because if I am forgiven, I am invited also to forgive others. And our God has forgiven us as many times as possible. Whenever we go to Him for reconciliation, even greater sins, He has forgiven us, especially when we are humble and ask for forgiveness. Then why don't we forgive others, especially those who hurt us? Even with small things, sometimes we don't forgive others. Yes, let's examine ourselves and ask the grace from the Lord to always forgive others the way God forgives us many times, to be people who never get tired of forgiving others. We are more blessed, dear friends, when we are peacemakers, when we reconcile, especially when there is war. Like in this time here in Holy Land, in Israel, we see there is a kind of tension and war, but this war can be everywhere in some parts of the world. And we are blessed when we try to reconcile, when you try to make peace, when you try to find problems, not to add more fuel where there is already fire, but when you try to dialogue, we are more blessed. When you try to find peace and reconcile, we are more blessed. Beginning with our homes, tensions will be there, but let's be people who always reconcile and make peace. Then we are more blessed and we are more happy when we reconcile, when we make peace. The peacemakers are those who find a problem, a challenge somewhere, and are there to mediate, there to make peace and say, yes, my brothers, yes, you are humans, you have unfortunately made a mistake, but there is a possibility of reconciling and making peace so that to continue ahead. Life can go on, dear friends, when we forgive people, when we forgive situations, when we reconcile with people, when we make peace with the past, present, and future, when we make peace with every situation, when we make peace with our brothers and sisters, when we make peace with everyone, especially those situations that have hurt us, that has left us broken. Life becomes more beautiful when we make peace with them. It's just like saying, okay, whether you intended it or you did not intend it, I just want my peace and I want to make peace with you. And in order to make peace, dear friends, we have to talk about it. We have to dialogue about it. I have to tell you what I agree about, what we are talking about, and what I don't agree, but I say it with respect so that you too can also realize your mistake. Because sometimes people hurt us without knowing their mistake. And that's why we have to dialogue. One way towards making a good, true peace is by dialogue, by reconciling, by talking about things. Not in the sense of looking for the negatives of the other. No. Just for the sake of, first of all, pouring out everything. And secondly, to make peace. Whether you agree what I'm saying or not, it doesn't matter. What is important, you give me chance to pour out whatever I need to pour out, and I give you chance to pour out whatever you need to pour out, and then together we make peace. Never jump this process, especially when it is possible. This is one way of dialogue that brings reconciliation and peace. If people are not given a chance to air out their view, if you are a husband and you never give your wife a chance to talk about herself, especially when there are challenges, if you are a wife and you never give a chance to your husband to talk about things, if you are a parent and you never give your children a chance to talk about what has exactly happened, then we are actually creating more tension. We are not solving the problem. We are not healing, because a true healing comes when we give chance to others to pour out what is going on in them so that they can breathe. It's like removing a big stone. Give chance to others to remove big stones from their hearts. That is a beautiful way towards true reconciliation, true peace, true mercy. To find that serenity in the heart is when we allow others to pour out what is going on inside. All the poison that is going on inside has to come out. Then one can be able to breathe, and life can be happy, blessed, and life can go on when we give others chance to air out and pour out and to make peace. So blessed are the peacemakers as well. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the cause of right. Yes, dear friends, our Christian life will entail giving witness. One way to show how we are living our Christian life is to be good, to speak good, to also challenge, especially when things are not going on well. But in challenging when things are not going on well, which is our prophetic mission as prophets, who encourage but also who challenge, who also correct, in correcting, not everybody will be able to accept what we are saying. And so people will stab us with their words. They will even create more words which are painful. Maybe they will even hurt us physically. The Lord says, blessed are those who are persecuted for the cause of right. Yes, because you are saying the right things with respect to others, and yet others are still condemning you and stoning you. Don't worry about that. You are blessed. You are more happy, because sooner or later they will find out where the mistake is, and maybe they will be able to learn from that. But even if they don't learn from that, you have done your best, because you have spoken from your conscience to speak especially of that which is not going on well, and you are now facing the consequences. I say so because there are people who say, nobody told me. And then you say, yes, I knew. Imagine your child tells you, I am like this because nobody told me. And the parent says, yes, I knew it, but I was fearing to tell you. Or your wife tells your husband, nobody told me. Yes, I knew about it, but I feared to tell you. No. Whether the person is fearsome or not, we are invited to always speak out the truth no matter what happens. And in that case, we shall be blessed. You know what? Because how many times we spoke out the truth and people even thanked us. And they thanked us and said, wow, thank you for the courage that you are able to say this for my good. Yes, at first it pained me, but I realized you were right. And because you had the courage to tell me all this, I feel I am the best person in the world. I'm living my life very well because you had the courage to tell me. I know at first I was annoyed, but I realized thanks to your courage to tell me, I was okay, and I am what I am because of the courage that you had. You would have kept quiet, yes, and in that case maybe I would have fallen into prison or somewhere else, but you had the courage to tell me. Yes, my dear brother, my dear sister, don't get tired of speaking out. You may be persecuted because of the words which are true, but know that our reward is in heaven. Blessings, dear friends. And as we say that our reward is in heaven, let us remember that sometimes even these small consolations or our reward is sometimes felt here on earth. Yes, but even if it doesn't come on earth, we know that we are already storing up our treasures in heaven, especially when we do good as the saints did. Let us ask the intercession of the many saints, those who are known or not known, and let's pray that the Lord may help us to be saints as well. And let's never get tired of looking at Jesus and learning from him how to be humble, meek, simple, and how to be poor in spirit, how to be welcoming towards others, and how to be good news for everyone that we meet on our journey of life. This is the best gift we can give to each other, to be good news to each one that we meet and encounter in life. life. Dear friends, greetings from here, Jerusalem. We continue praying for peace in the whole world and praying for peace, especially in our hearts. May the Lord grant us peace, and may we continue being blessed and happy. Amen.